you are not gaining muscle because you're a little bitch. This is kind of true, but it's not at the same time. Now, sounds mad, but losing body fat is way easier than gaining muscle. You can have a bad week, okay, and the next week you can just pick it back up. When it comes to fat loss, as long as you are in a deficit for a prolonged period of time, you will lose fat. Obviously, your composition needs to improve, and now this is going to be done by resistance training. You can build muscle through certain types of cardio, such as cycling, for example. But realistically, progressively overloading with resistance training is what is going to make you get hypertrophy, building more muscle in the long run. Whereas if you are just consistent with your diet for a prolonged period of time, that is going to lead to you losing body fat. Okay, and these changes are a lot more visible from day to day. Sometimes to gain muscle, which is going to make you look worse. You are going to look a little bit softer. But that extra food, as long as you're progressively overloading, is actually going to make you build tissue in the long run and then build the physique that you desire. So we have to go through this phase to get there. So in this episode, I'm going to go over the principles. So in this episode, I'm going to go over the main principles that is going to help you build muscle long term. Okay, first is your progressive overload. Now, explaining progressive overload is very simple. Okay, your working sets have to go to failure. You have to fail. Your one job when you go into the gym is make every single working set to failure. Now, you have a rep range, which is a guide. Okay, and I would always do a higher rep range for an isolation movement because it's obviously a lot more taxing on the joints. So you don't really want to be doing low weights with them, which is my preference. But everyone has a different preference. Everyone sometimes prefers a low rep range, find that they get more out of it. But for me, I like to have a lot more endurance as well as being doing the big lifts on your compounds. Okay, but say my set is 7 to 11, and I pick up the 50 kilos. I get 12 reps. I've gone over my rep range, but I've gone to failure. That's all that matters because that means I'm going to progressively overload next week. Now the 52s, I find it a little bit harder. I get 10 reps. 2 weeks later, I've got 12 reps again. I go to the 56s, 54s, 56s. I get 5 reps. If I've gone to the 56s, but I could just stick to the same and continuously just get a rep up each week. Now eventually, 6 to 8 months down the line, those 56s are 60s. I progressively overloaded. It's just stupid. Shocking the muscle is not going to do anything. It doesn't do anything. To get progression, you have to stick to the same exercises from 1 week to the next for an extended amount of time to get that progressive overload. So that's point 1. Point 2 has kind of already been explained within what I said previously. Your working sets are just not hard enough. You are being a bitch. I speak to you. Not skin. So say I'm doing the only thing that is moving is my elbows tucking into my side and then contracting across the front. The moment I have to twist my back or raise my hips to try and get that rep, you see man them look like they're doing this when they're trying to get the rep up for a dumbbell press. Like, bro, you failed the rep because you've had to change your posture. But if you can still move your arms and get that rep up, you go until the point where you cannot do any more. Take it to failure, or there is no point because you will not grow. You need to force the muscle to adapt to grow. And to adapt, it needs to be put under the most amount of stimulus we can possibly give it without hurting ourselves, obviously. If you're about to injure yourself, you feel like something's about to pop, drop that shit. Longevity is the aim of the game. The more we're in the gym, the more gains we get. Now, number 3, kind of mentioned it previously. We don't need to shock the muscle. Now, I've stuck to the same routine since October last year, okay? And my leg press has gone from like a 340 to a 425 on the squat press. The only reason I changed my exercises slightly is because I changed gyms. And that's not because I wanted to leave my gym. That's because it's too far to drive to. But that is the only reason you should be changing your exercises. You should be unless your goal has changed and one muscle group has actually become more dominant than another. Or your physique goals have changed. You are just starting to change categories. So if I was I've gone from men's physique to bodybuilding. So I've gone from doing 1 leg day a week to 2 leg days a week. And mainly hamstring and glute focus because obviously those have been lagging because they've not been on show in them board shorts. Whereas now they're going to be out for everyone to see. Them glutes are going to be hanging out of them little white fronts. Bit sketchy. Next thing is you're not going to grow muscle really in a deficit. It's possible, yes, especially if you're an anabolic user and you're using certain anabolics like Trembolone, which is obviously the most anabolic steroid you can get. You can still grow muscle in a deficit. However, are you going to grow more in a surplus? Yes. Food is the main driver behind performance. Extra carbohydrates means extra fuel. If you are continuously never going into a gaining phase, eating in a surplus, you are never going to gain the tissue that you desire. So stay in a 20% maximum surplus. Don't go crazy with your off plans. The more you spend time bloated, the more time your body is not digesting the food. And digestion means everything because if you can't digest it, you can't utilize it. All right, if you're just taking more shits than ever, it just means your body is not uptaking that nutrients. It doesn't mean that your metabolism's fast. It means you're eating too much too quickly. Take it slow. You want to be increasing between 0.5 to 0.2 a week per kilo. Then if it's on average you're up that amount, then you just don't need to change anything until you find a point where you sustain and you hold your weight for a prolonged period of time or start to decline in weight. Probably isn't structured well enough. Is it equal amounts across the day? Because protein, as much as it is perfect for sustaining us, making us feel fuller for longer, right? It does slow down digestion. Okay, if we're not having the correct amount of protein across the day, we're not giving ourselves equal amounts of opportunity to photosynthesize and utilize that protein. Okay, and as well, I wouldn't have fats around the training window. Why? Because it slows down digestion by 30%. If you've got slow digestion around the training window, those carbs, those extra carbs, the fuel that you're giving yourself, it's not getting into the bloodstream quick enough. It's not there to be utilized, give us the energy that we need. So you're giving yourself an opportunity to actually hold yourself back with your training when you're having fats around the training window. Or if you're having a huge amount of protein here and a huge amount of protein here, but nothing there. Now, another one is you're just not recovering. Like I also had a coach previously that gave me 8 exercises, 3 sets on a Monday for chest. Now, once you get past 4 exercises realistically on one muscle group, your ability to actually make it accurate has decreased. So it's not really driving the performance that we need to actually make sure that we are growing. The more sets are accurate, the more we grow. So if you do a ton of sets at the beginning of the week and then a load at the back end of the week and you have not recovered from them, because the muscle only grows from nutrients and time recovering and obviously stimulus. So if you are spending every single day in the gym as well, your muscles are not recovering. It's also you're burning excess calories that we don't want to really be doing. You need those calories to grow and recover. So time and recovery is just as important. So this is why also, especially when you're trying to grow, digestion I would keep in an off-season setting, heart health, and hormonal function. Also, I think it helps with cognitive brain function as well. Not gonna lie, I feel like I've got a clear mind after I've done a bit of time on Stairmaster. Now, as well, you are expecting results too quickly. Even as an assisted athlete, I've grown 5 kilos of muscle a year for the last 4 years, but that's an assisted athlete, and that is when every single thing is on point. Supplements, food, sleep. If you are natural, you can expect 2 kilos, and that is everything being completely on point as well. So you need to realize if you're gaining a kilo a month, it's probably too much. And as well, you are not going to get stronger every week. If you are getting stronger every single week, I'll be worried about your tendons. So this is something you need to think about as well. If you are trying to push new weights every single week, it's just not good. And it's not a realistic progress point. You're probably going to injure yourself. So take your time, right? Yes, push yourself to your hardest every single session. You shouldn't expect every single exercise to go up the next week as well. Some weeks you're going to have one exercise goes up, some weeks it's going to be other exercises that sustain. You might even drop a rep one week to go forward in the long run, but you're there, you're creating stimulus, okay? Don't expect a miracle overnight. It's the ones that are actually consistent, that keep turning up, creating that stimulus, putting the maximum amount of effort in, that create the most amount of muscle. Don't ever stop your form as well for weight. Don't be greedy with it. It will come in time. So, my take from this is, you need to put yourself through a number of questions. 1, are you eating in a surplus to gain that muscle? 2, are you really pushing yourself to failure? Are you coming out of there exhausted, feeling like you've done everything that you can to create that stimulus? 3, is your technique good enough? Okay? Are you changing your posture to get reps? Or are your reps too quick? Remember, it should be 8 seconds per rep, minimum. 3 seconds down, 3 seconds up, 1 second in the contraction and 1 second in the stretch, right? Realistically, are you giving yourself that time outside the gym to actually recover, to make sure that you are chilling, make sure that you are giving yourself the right nutrition, sleeping enough, because that is so important as well. We grow so much in our sleep. It gives us a better hormonal balance. And then last but not least, I would say the environment. Are you somewhere where you feel like you can actually push yourself forwards? You probably need to be in an environment that you are seeing people that are stronger and bigger than you to push yourself on, to make you progress. Now, don't get me wrong, the average person can definitely do that. But if the machines are constantly not at the right profile for you, you don't feel like you have other people around you that are going to push you, that can be able to spot you, etc., etc., it might hold you a little bit. I know that I get mental fatigue when I spend time in the gym where I don't feel like people are pushing themselves to that same level. Now, if you really want to grow muscle this year and you are watching this video, you clearly need to hit me up, because I've got clients that are growing tons of tissue naturally and I've got guys who have previously done it, and I've got people stepping on stage in September and quite a few next year. So if you want to grow some muscle, get at me and let's drop a message and have a discussion on where you want to be. See you guys in the next one.